welcome back. On this episode we are going to get a couple layers of top coat on the top, think about 2 or 3, and really go from there, see how long that takes us, and if we get that far and it cures, maybe start working on the black stripe that goes around the top of it. But yeah, let's see how far we get. Okay, if you see last week's episode, you would have seen we've got the 3 coats of primer on. Turned out really good. So like I said at the beginning of the video, we are going to get the top coat on. Doing some research on the epifanes is what I'm going to use, exactly the same as what I used at the bottom. I'm going to sand this at 180, get the first coat on, come back tomorrow, get the second coat on, leave that for 1 day, then I'll sand it at 240, and then the final coat can go on. So it's going to be about a 4-day process, obviously waiting around for it to cure 100%. It takes about 20-24 hours. To cure in this sort of temperature, which is about 20 degrees. That's why I'm going to leave it an extra day, just obviously sanding. I don't want to mess anything up, but it is nice to know that I don't need to sand in between the first and second coat. But if I didn't do it the next day, you would have to sand it at probably 180 to put the next coat on. So yeah, we're going to jump straight into 180 in this sand, clean it up, and then jump straight into painting the boat, making it nice and shiny and looking good. So let's go for it. Okay, and that is all sanded at 180, cleaned up. I've just mixed the paint, so much runnier than the primer. So basically what I've got is epifanes, exactly the same as the bottom if you've seen that episode. That's a 2-part, and also to make it flow a little better, you put like 5 to 10% of this slow reducer, so it has more time to fare out. So you mix this up all together, you weigh it more than doing the meals, because this was 1 kg, but it actually worked out to be less than 1 litre. So that's a 3 kg setup, so that's, as long as I can use one of them each time, I can get 3 coats out of it. If not, then I will just go for the 2 coats, same as the bottom, but this is going to have a lot more traffic, so if I can get 3 on, it'd be so much better. So yeah, basically we'll start painting as soon as that timer's out and go straight to the time lapse. Okay. Okay, new day. As you see, yesterday I finished off the first coat of top coat. Looking really good, nice and shiny. Still needs sanding, obviously, but because it's the next day, I'm gonna get the second coat on, and then after that we can 240 grit it and get the final in the next couple of days. Just hoping it fares out a little bit more. It's definitely got the reflection, but I think obviously the second coat might make a massive difference. I think the first time I put this on, it ended up the same as this. You can just see it, it's got a little bit of a, but even if it just stayed like that, it's good. It looks good, nice and clean, fresh look. So yeah, what I'm gonna do now is quickly mix up the paint, because they say leave that for 10-15 minutes so the chemicals can react together. And while that's happening, I will get the tack cloth and quickly go over with a tack cloth, just get any dust that's settled overnight. And then we'll jump straight in. I know it is a bit boring. Last week's video and this week's video, it just looks exactly the same, as in, you know, it's 3 days of painting and then sanding and painting. But it will start looking good. Things have started turning up. The windscreen materials turned up. The windows, the window frame is turned up. That I've got to cut at some point and make myself, but it should be good. But anyway, enough talk about that. When you see it, jump straight into painting. Okay, it's a new day. It's actually a few days later. Been quite busy last couple of days. Picked up an engine, which should come up in the next few episodes. Probably going to be fitting that soon. So I've been traveling to pick that up, which has gave time for this to 100% cure. So, it is a lot better. You can just see the texture there, but it is reflecting. So the reason why that is like that and not exactly the same as the bottom is because now I need to 240 grit it, which would be the final sand for this whole top half. Thank God this whole boat will be then fully sanded, outside completed. But yeah, so 240, And then really it's getting the next coat on, well, the final coat on, making sure I check everything, make sure there's no drips, because I found a technique after the first coat, stuff like around these windows, there's one drip there and one drip up there. So what I will do is the first coat I only went up to the edge, second coat I overlapped it a whole roller there, and by the time I worked around, because this stuff is slow setting, it was easy to work up there and blend it all in, and there was no drips after that. But yeah, it still looks pretty good. I mean, you can see the reflection of this wood over here, so I think with a 240 grit sand, it's going to make it look so much better to get the final coat on. So yeah, I think, like I said, focus on sanding today, see how far I get. Obviously I'll get the sanding done, but see what sort of time, see if I've got enough time to paint it. If not, then I'll come back tomorrow and give it a coat. But yeah, let's jump straight into glass sanding. Okay, and that's all of the outside done, apart from the walkway. I think I've decided there's no point putting a third coat on the walkway, because it's only going to be sanded down again and putting deck paint on. Same with the splash well. That is actually a perfect finish for this. And basically most of this in here has had a second coat and it's actually looking really good. For the inside. So yeah, the only thing I might do is quickly sand down the dashboard and give that a third coat, because that is the only bits that is missing patches. For some reason I think putting a second coat on top, in certain lighting I must have missed. Don't know if you can see like the texture there. That's very weird. But everything else I've seen, like this is going to be deck painted or some sort of floor in here. So this has had two coats, it's protected. Same as that side, that's going to have a cushion on top. It looks really good, and same as all down there. So it's looking really good. So that has saved me a bit of paint as well. Well, a lot of paint should I say, because this is a big area. Same as all the decking, walkway, sorry. But everything else is sanded. Should only take me a couple of minutes to quickly sand over this. And then what I might also do is I probably won't paint today, just because I want to take my time, check it all out properly, and maybe even wait around and keep checking on it, make sure there's no runs or anything. So what I might do is after this sanding here is I might go to the hatch, because I haven't actually done anything with the hatch yet. So I'm going to sand that down to the original, have a look at that, check that out, and then we can go from there. Okay. Okay, new day. As you see, end of yesterday, that hatch is now all sanded. Needs a couple of repairs, but I'll have enough primer and paint to do that separately. Main focus today, clean all this up and get the last coat on. Like I said yesterday, leaving the inside, I double checked the dash, that looks fine as well actually. So this is its finish on the inside. Looks really good. And like you see yesterday, that's sanded to 240, which should just give it a bit of more of a mirror shine. But yeah, clean up and let's get this paint on. Okay, and that is the third and final coat on. Looks so much better. That is the trick. Now I know this. Obviously it's all done, so I won't have to do it again, but well, maybe in the future. But I would personally, anybody using epifanes, put the first coat on, leave it for a day or two, sand it at 180, 240, and then get a second coat on. If you really want to get a third coat on, leave the second coat on for an extra day, sand that again, just because putting one coat on top of 180 already sand, and then putting another coat on within 24 hours makes no difference. You still have to sand it at 180 smooth. So I personally would get one coat on, like I said, then a couple of days 180, and then get this even second coat on, just even if you're going to, because it looks so much better. Obviously I've just finished this, so it's still fairing out, but that looks so much better than it did on that first coat and second coat. That's this side done as well. It's looking really good. So that's probably going to be it for this week. It's getting quite a long video already. Next week is the big one. We're going to start putting stuff back on. We're going to start making stuff like the windscreen, windows. Not saying it's just going to be next week, but during the next couple of weeks. Probably next week also, 100% I will get the engine on. Just because it's sat in a place I don't want it. I can get it here, bolted on, start looking at it. Yeah, like I said, I've got a new engine, so we'll show that. Got some other bits turning up for it. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a lot of good stuff going on this now. Should start seeing a big change. Also, I'll leave this a couple days, and then obviously I've got to put the black strip of paint that I was going to do around there. But yeah, so I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Cheers.